Good day, everybody. Today we're here with great bass player Christian Peggy Webb. Christian, can you tell us about your first musical experience?
Hi, Daniel. My first experience, I was obviously my grandma, and they had their own church. So I was basically born in church. Basically, it was my mom and my dad is playing. My brothers used to play in church. So that was just my life. My life was music, was playing, seeing people playing, seeing banjos, back in the day. So that was basically, that's all I can remember. Before I even played football, before anything else, all I knew was music. So that was basically from 2 or 3 years old. I can remember music. So yeah, yeah.
Can you tell us why you chose the bass guitar?
It's actually a really difficult, not a difficult. I've always loved the bass. I've always loved the bass because, my brothers was playing bass. But why I chose the bass was actually because of the friends around me. I had guys like Andre Hope in my friend circle, Stanton, that recently passed away. And Stanton was a drummer, Andre Hope was a bass player. Um, and but Andre used to stay in Athlone, and I was in Mitchell's Plain. So when he weren't there, when he wasn't in church, or he couldn't make it, there was a like a loophole for me, and I could only play like one song, and I played that at the end of every service, and that is what really basically inspired me to play bass because I couldn't play guitar. I just knew music. I had music in my spirit, in my being, but it was basically through. There was a gap. There was a gap, and I took the bass, and it became natural to me, and that's what happened from that moment on. I just, as soon as I touched it, it turned into gold, and I started loving this thing.
Wow, man, interesting. Can you tell us about your musical education? Did you go for lessons or you self-taught?
Um, Basically, I'm self-taught. Yes, I've had a couple of lessons. The first guy that taught me, Greg, is teaching up in Joburg, and he, your mixolydians and all these type of things, your modes, these type of things he laid down, and so I've got a quite a good foundation. But basically, throughout the years, I've been teaching and training and learning from other guys. Especially, I know someone said it once in conversation with other bass players. Once you've got the fretboard in your head and you've got, the basics of bass, you can speak bass to me and I'll understand, and you can just speak a couple of things and I will understand how the scale works and and that'll happen in your mind. And once you get to your practice location or your room or whatever, it becomes easier because you've got an understanding of. So it's basically the majority of it is experience. Has been playing for over 25 years, and yeah, that's.
Christian, I remember you like in the early 90s.
Mm.
You were playing for New Birth back in the day. That's when I first saw you. Early, I think 94, 95, around about there.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how that came to be, and also the other artists that you have been playing for, and the artists that you're playing for currently? Can you tell us about that, please?
Okay, Newbert was a very, I know that was like my push into, I've been playing in church and I've been playing for a little gospel group here in Lente here. And my brother was playing for Michael Webb. He was the guitar player of Newbert at that time when Newbert just transitioned out of, or into doing their own songs. And they had this song, Chosen Generation, that was their starter pack, as you would call it. And Michael used to play. He played this lick. He played that lick in it, an intro in it. And we had to go to, or we were invited to attend a concert in Laksarama back in the day. And I was standing there, and I was standing at, the concert was always full, Newbirth, and I positioned myself as to, just as you come up the stairs, I can still remember it like it was just as you come next to the sound engineer, I was about to, and Wesley Ruston, he took this beast of a bass solo that night. He was just, I was just mesmerizing to see that guy play on that 4-string Fender jazz bass. Um, and I told myself that I want to do that. I wanna play on this stage. I wanna do that. And exactly a year later, I was playing for the same band
Wow, wow,
in
interesting.
Wesley Rustin's place because Wesley moved on to jazz and and there was a gap and Ivan Fullman he actually got me the gig and that is how I came into to playing for since then I was about there for 3 years 3 4 years I was music director for them but most of my musical directing skills most of my mindset with musical um, guys like Edward Adams, guys like Adrian, Desmond Hendricks, bass player. These are guys that molded me in that time because he could also, Desmond was just as good, although he was a vocalist, so he could, after a song, because we were doing our own songs at the time, not to make it along, but we were doing our own songs, and he could come to me and tell me, do that, try. And there was always that, and we had conversation with Adrian, and it was just, and at the end of the day, the thing that I played on Sunday was like a amalgamation of a couple of ideas that we played, and that is why it was so good. I went on to play with. Currently, I'm playing with GKD project. We're doing the markets, Mojo Market and Houtbay Market, and we're doing some. But I've been playing through the years. Oh, there's so many artists, so many guys that I back, so many guys that I, because why I say that I back because I see nowadays there's a trend of bass players leading, being on the forefront, and I'm all for that. No, it's but I am into I'm just
A groove.
yes I'm a I like to keep it down. I like to keep on the low end. And there's nothing wrong. I salute these guys. They're very good. Especially these new guys. They're very good, and I salute them. But I like that. I like to stay in the background and keep it tight with a drummer. Even if I play 2 or 3 chords throughout the song, it's for me how I connect with a drummer. That's for me the most important. Yes, I've done stints with for KFM radio, um, back for Daniel Baton for so many artists. I played on that gig. I did stuff with Don Vino. I did, but it was a secular gig. But obviously, it pays. It pays. So you've got to do what you got to do to get it done. But through the years, I've been playing with so many artists, so many, yeah.
Interesting, man. Can you tell us about the gear that you have? I see you have some nice gear here. Can you tell us about that,
Um,
please?
this bass is, yeah, I paid for it, but it's courtesy of my brother Andre Webb. He hooked me up. He hooked me up with a GK amplification as well. And this is basic. The guitar is something. When he bought it initially, I told him I want that bass. I don't care what you do. I want that bass. And I played an Ibanez sound gear, and some chord basses. But this was always since now. This is more than 20 years back when I saw Wesley Rustin with his 4-string Fender Jazz. I wanted that, and it took me 20 years to get to it. So this is, the thing about this bass, why I loved it, why I love it so much. It's not complicated. It's like a,
Plug and play.
yeah, it's like a what do you call it? This Nissan hard,
Oh,
hard bodies where it just drives. It just never stops. And this is there's no batteries. It's a passive bass, and hence me using the Boss GT 10B pedal. But and the older it gets, it's like old wine. It's like the better it gets. So yeah, this is the love of my life.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Do you have any advice for young up and coming bass players and musicians out there?
Oh, yeah. um, it's a little bit complicated that because there's so many things, and I've heard so many guys speaking so much things. Yeah, it's obviously discipline, obviously putting in the hours, practice. Because in Cape Town, there's a lot of good cats. Really, these bass players sure. Sometimes I think, why am I doing this when these guys are just exploding? But if you want to be at the top of your game, you've got to sit. And especially if you're a youngster, you're not married yet, where you can still put in the hours. Put in the hours because it's gonna, like when you get to our age and you don't have a lot of time, you got 1 or 2 hours to sit with it, then it counts a lot. What you've put in the beginning. So it's the discipline to sit down, the discipline to switch off everything else and sit with your instrument. If you can get formal education, it will help you a lot. It will really, really help you a lot, because you're not looking to just play around the corner. Your mark is to be a well-renowned international bass player, Abraham Laboriels and the Victor Wootens. You want to be up there. So put in the hard work. It pays at the end of the day.
Christian, thank you so much, man. God bless you on your journey, and yeah, thanks for making time for me and making time for the show.
If I can just add before we play out, I want to thank you, Daniel, for doing this. Really, this is phenomenal. This is something to get us as bass players, as artists out there, and we really appreciate it. And to everyone out there that had a part in my life of bass playing, I want to thank you so much. It was really worth the journey. And let me just say one thing: God first. God first in everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for liking and sharing this video with your family and friends. Please follow From the Cape with Bass on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much. God bless you.